Welcome back to the road to City Hall. Our first guest tonight entered the race for public advocate later than his three Democratic rivals, but is leading them in all the polls. Here to talk about the campaign and much more is candidate for public advocate, former public advocate, and former New York NY1's guy, Mark Green. It's so nice to see you tonight.
Great to be back. Better here than on Wise Guys.
Okay, Mr. Green, let's get right to it. You believe that you've qualified for matching funds, and you started later than all the other candidates in this race. But even if you qualify, you won't receive a check until August 20th. Is that enough time?
Yes. August 20th is like a week away. Dominic, I entered in February, and my rivals had 2 and 3 years to raise the threshold of money to get matching funds, which is $125,000 in small donations under $175. And it was a challenge, and we did it and then some. We raised $150,000. I went from $20,000 a month in small donations to $50,000 in the last month. And so now we will get a substantial check from the city in public funds for public elections. This is based on a law that I enacted 11 years ago, which had a multiple of city dollars to small gifts of 4 to 1, because you want to encourage people to run who aren't just wealthy guys who can go to their Rolodex and raise money. Now it's 6 to 1 because the law has been improved. So under the law that I originated, I now have qualified and will have enough funds to get my message out that I had the, I think and hope, the best concept and record and vision for the office given my service there.
Now, polls have shown you the magical number is 40%. Any candidate that gets 40% of the vote avoids a runoff, and thus you can move on to the general election. Some polls have shown you at 37%, one at 39%. The bottom line here, will Mark Green reach the magical 40%?
Maybe. Dominic, I don't have a crystal ball. If you put all the polls, remember, no one's voted. I am very humble about the fact that if you think you're going to win, you shouldn't and you won't. So in terms of endorsements from some groups, I'm the underdog. In terms of people who know my record as a consumer advocate and public advocate, I think I have a win behind my back. But I'm at about 38 to 40% in public polls with 30% undecided. So I'm hopeful, of, as each candidate is, of winning without a runoff, but I'm prudently assuming there'll be a runoff.
The Campaign Finance Board has permitted some of the other candidates to start fundraising for a possible runoff, indicating the possibility they believe this may be headed for a runoff. What do you think about that?
That's fine. If other candidates have raised money for years in anticipation of the September 15th primary, and hope they'll be in a runoff if they want to raise money for the runoff, that's fine. I'm not competing with them in that respect. I'm competing with myself to raise enough money to get out my story, which is since for 11 years I was the consumer commissioner and public advocate. People know that I've been a fighter who got real results on their side when it comes to helping kids not smoke, when it comes to exposing and reducing police misconduct. When it comes to the Daily News this week, is doing a huge series on lifeguards and how the lifeguard unit is poorly trained and incestuous. I did the investigation in 96, 97 that exposed how management and labor were in cahoots and were endangering our swimmers and citizens. That's the kind of expose and solution that I would do again. And I just have to make sure that my experience and record are known by voters, and then my new ideas, my vision for what comes next in the office, because given all the new technology that we have, where we now are location specific in terms of getting information about government, it's called the iPhone, and where we get information through our social networks, Twitter and Facebook. So it's an entirely new era. Should I be public advocate again? It's a great opportunity to do even better and more.
But it's funny, Mr. Green, that you used the word new several times. Bill de Blasio, one of your competitors in this race, appeared on the program recently, and he's willing to give you credit for all the things that you have done in the past. New is not a word that he attributes to you. Let's take a look at what Mr. de Blasio said about candidate Mark Green.
Has not been present in the public life of this city in the last few years. He was not involved in the response to Nix Mary Brown. He has not been involved on the issue of mayoral control of education. I'm a public school parent and a member of the Education Committee and the Council. I've been deeply involved in public school issues. He hasn't been involved in the struggle to create more affordable housing. I respect his past achievements.
Past, he says, not new.
A couple of things. I understand that he wants to glide by the fact that for 11 years I ran 2 citywide offices, including public advocate, in a way I think even critics would say was a successful 2 terms in office. In the last 8 years, I haven't been in the city council. He has. But I've run Air America Radio, a small business in New York, wrote with John Podesta a book that the Obama administration is using called Change for America, where we have new ideas for the national government. And I thought, well, I want to try to do new ideas for New York. So anybody who would like to know my ideas for what comes next, they can go to markgreen.com, and we have released Change for New York, 100 new ideas for New York. I want to put the new back in New York. Look, Dominic, whether I've been when I was a public interest lawyer, when I was the public advocate, and all the books I've written, I've always tried to not jump on bandwagons. You know, I co-sponsored this, I fought for this. I want new solutions to old problems. So in this compilation, and also I have a paper on Government 2.0, how we can use Twitter hashtag to track in real time what government is doing, how we can use the so-called cancer project that all our hospitals are doing in unison to try to crack the problems of obesity and diabetes, how we can use senior experts who have retired in business, a senior service corps to help start-up companies, how we should change economic development instead of throwing billions to the Yankees and MetLife, spend smaller amounts of money in micro seed investments and loans to start up companies that could be the next Google or Amazon or Twitter. So I look forward to a debate, not only on what I've accomplished, which is relevant to this office because it shows what I can do, but what I want to do next if I should win. Again, it's right there on my website, and I've been campaigning on it. Other people want to campaign on endorsements, I understand, and money, I understand that. I love substance and ideas that's characterized my entire public career.